Well, the lost hope of whether Arsenal was going to be really into the title race was restored tomorrow after Arsenal beat Newcastle by 2-0. It was Martin Odegaard and the effort of Martinelli that was going across the face of goal of Newcastle in the 71st minute that was really connected into the goal of Newcastle by, is it Sacha? Fabian Sacha, right? And it made it 2-0, and Arsenal kept its first clean sheet in the last 7 games. Arsenal not kept clean sheet. So as it stands, Arsenal have found themselves in a position of being 1 point behind Man City, though Man City have gone ahead to play 1 game less than Arsenal. And as you know, though we've come in late, but never say never, here onto Rokani Media Football, we are bringing you what we call the player ratings. Understand? The player ratings are in here for you, and we are going to rate every player on a scale of 10. Aaron Ramsdale, he kept Arsenal into the game close to 3 or 4 times. And out of the 3 times of those that I'm going to hate to mention and count in that fixture, Arsenal just were relying on the mercy of Ramsdale. And Ramsdale pulled out like 2-3 worldies into that game. I think today is celebrating his 25th birthday. And it's really going to be so much important to see to it that everything goes on as planned by Mikel Arteta. For me, Aaron Ramsdale had a very decent ball distribution. I liked his command when the defender sometimes said that, all right, let's build it from behind. Then he commanded them that, no, you go. We are not going to risk anymore, especially after Arsenal had been attacked frequently in the first 10 minutes because Newcastle knocked onto the door of Arsenal close to 3-4 serious times in those first 10 minutes of the game, and he found himself in a position of really saving Arsenal on several occasions. I'm giving him an 8 out of 10. I'm giving him an 8 out of 10. We go to Ben White. I would like to give kudos to Ben White that he faced 2 dangerous forwards. The first forward he faced on the left was Alexander Isak. If at all you know one of the most skilled players in the middle of the park, up front and wide of the park, it's obviously Alexander Isak. We've seen him torment defenses. You know, he doesn't even need space to operate. You know, he's such a press-resistant player that even if you're like 3 players, he can go past you. But Ben White single-handedly found himself in the entire game being exposed once by the pace of Alexander Isak, but that was courtesy of Bukayo Saka not tracking back and obviously putting pressure onto Ban, and Ben White had a decision to make, to either go to Ban or to go to Alexander Isak, and that one was beaten, but Granit Xhaka made a very beautiful tackle, and I think that shot from Callum Wilson hit the thigh of Granit Xhaka. Ben White then had to face St. Maxima, right? St. Maxima also came in through. You know his intensity and what he brings on the field of play. He's really deadly, and he came on through and obviously defended him too. So I want to give him a 7.5 out of 10. I really like the way he really played yesterday. He had a very decent game. Zinchenko, the worst defender on the field of pitch today, yesterday, and he really had a very good game going forward. That is the offensive part of the pitch. Defensively, he is always suspect, and I think this goes all out to him being in a very bad part of his career in his debut season. I think he has gone ahead to lose consciousness because I saw the way he was twisted left, right, and center, and he really fell down, and him falling down would have costed Arsenal a goal if it was not Aaron Ramsdale to come to their save. So I think Zinchenko really had a very poor day, and I'm giving him a 6 out of 10 into that game of football that Arsenal won comfortably by 2-0. Central defense, Gabriel Magalhaes. Oh, we went into this game when there are a lot of worries written on him that he might not be able to come in through and really play the game of football, but he came in through and really played very, very well, and I think he closed down very well. His intensity, his energy, and his celebration after the game showed you that he was really so much in the know of what this win meant to Arsenal, because as I told you when we were going to this game, that this is a game that was going to remake or re-break the season of Arsenal, because all what Arsenal needed was to go on and really win, and they went ahead and really collected that win. After collecting that win, they found themselves back into the title race, and I think Man City is feeling the pressure with them playing on Tuesday against Real Madrid, who are really going to overstretch them. They have to play Everton on the weekend. So it's really going to be a highly contested game between between Man City and Everton. And Arsenal again, we'll have to watch on and really wait, because I think they're going to host Brighton, I think, on Sunday. Not so. I think they're hosting Brighton on Sunday. So as it stands for now, it's really a very, very good gesture that Arsenal's going to have to put up. That even without William Saliba, they've going to have to keep a clean sheet for the very first time. And I think that's courtesy of Arteta making some huge changes into that first third of the pitch in his team. Gabriel Magalhaes, 7 out of 10. Then we are going to a man known as Jakub Kiwior. I think he was the senior. He acted as the senior into that defense. He was well composed. He was not gone past. Apart from that time, he blocked the ball in the 8th minute and it was exposed to VAR and it was really turned down. I think Jakub Kiwior had a very wonderful game. He made lots of blocks, he won lots of aerial duels, and one thing you wouldn't really forget to mention into this player rating session is his composure. When he's having the game, he's really good at the ball. And he's that kind of person that you'll always know that he's really comfortable with the ball, and obviously he plays well from the back. So I'm giving him an 8 out of 10 for me. Jakub Kiwior, 8 out of 10. He really had a very decent game. Second game, starting against teams that really have quality players. Against Chelsea, he came up, made his full Premier League debut, and he really did wonders. And people say Chelsea is not an elite team. They're really on and off. But against Newcastle, you saw what the guy is all about. He was really solid, and however much he's not right-footed and was played on the right side of the central defense, he put in the shift that all of you are really going to appreciate. That's it. So that's why I'm giving him an 8 out of 10. Then for Jorginho, oh my God. I've come up and said this regularly, and people say, Rokani, you're having an agenda on Jorginho, but I know what the CDM position calls for. It calls for composure. That's what it calls for. It calls for composure. It calls for being press resistant. It doesn't need energy. It doesn't need energy, because if you are going to go in an energy battle with Joe Wellington and Bruno Guimaraes, you lose the battle. And the game of football, what comes first is what you can use the ball for. I've seen Sergio Busquets play that CDM role without going in for energy, for physicality. No. It's all about you having a very good brain that really reads the game well. The football intelligence of Jorginho is really world class. And you saw what he has been doing for Arsenal in these previous 2 games. Put Partey into that game of Newcastle, Arsenal loses it because he'll go in for energy, That is really uncalled for in such games. It's uncalled for, But Jorginho got the ball and everything. He was fast on the pitch. An assist, touches, getting balls from the back line of Arsenal, forward passes, tackles, duels. So everything, he was fast in that game of football. And he has given Arsenal a different stage of operation, especially in such games. And this is the hardest game that Arsenal was left with. I think Arsenal can win against Brighton at home at Emirates. Arsenal can win against Nottingham Forest away from home. Arsenal can win against which team? Which other team are they left with to play? I think they're left with 3 games. So I think those 3 games, Arsenal can now win them comfortably. If I told Mikel Arteta doesn't tamper with a team, I'm still calling in for more changes. Bukayo Saka should be benched and Trossard should start. That's it. So I'm giving Jorginho a 9 out of 10. A 9 out of 10 is going to Jorginho. Martin Odegaard scoring a goal, and that has put him to scoring 5 in 5. He has 5 in his recent 5 games. So it shows you how good he was on the day. And I like the way he really scored the first goal. That's what they call taking responsibility. And I think now the argument is closed of Saka and Odegaard. Odegaard has showed you what he brings to the team that Saka cannot bring. raising up on the occasion is what makes you a different kind of player altogether. And people have always tried to downplay the efforts of Odegaard as being one of the most important players at Arsenal by fronting what's the name of the guy? Bukayo Saka as the most important player of Arsenal. But as we we're going to the final bend of the season, I think people now know who is who into that team. Odegaard has shown us that he can lift this team to where it can go. You know, he pulled the trigger from a position that no one thought that he could pull the trigger from. Then he just went ahead to really draw that picture again, that he really scored a goal against Tottenham in the same position. I'm giving him a 9 out of 10 because on the day he would have found himself on the score sheet again. Nick Pope did a very wonderful save towards the end of the first half, and he released Bukayo Saka and Martinelli on 2 clear occasions, but they failed to go ahead and really score. So that really caused a very bad day for Odegaard, because we're going to have to really get himself 2 goals and a brace of assists. That is it. I'm giving him a 9 out of 10. Granit Xhaka, flawless. One thing that he did yesterday that I want him to do more regularly is let him not have more touches on the ball, because that's not his game. His game is to be physical, win those L duels, act as a secondary read on the field of play after Martin Odegaard, score goals, and maybe create assists. I want him to do easy things, because every time he goes in for quick passing, he finds himself even having assists for these players of Arsenal. And yesterday would have gone ahead to have his own assist after all. Bukayo Saka capitalize onto that pass that Xhaka did, that really went through the back line of Newcastle, and he faced Nick Pope in the 23rd minute. So I would like to see Xhaka doing that. I'm giving him an 8 out of 10 because he really had lots of blocks to make. He fought lots of battles defensively, and it shows you that Arsenal are in need of a player who can really do both, like box to box, because that's what he's doing. He's not press resistant, but he has the energy, he has the urge, he has the intensity to run that midfield. I'm giving him an 8 out of 10. We go to Bukayo Saka, 6.5 out of 10. I think he's one of those players that really had a worst game, if at all I'm not mistaken. He really had lots of times to really score. He couldn't go past Ban. Ban is slow and Bukayo Saka is fast, but he couldn't go past him. That was really one of those things that really blew away my mind on the day, because I thought Saka was going to humiliate this guy, but he never for a second. That's it. But 6.5 out of 10 for Bukayo Saka. We go to Gabriel Martinelli, live wire, but he missed out onto close to 3 chances into that game. First half, he had like 3 chances to kill off the game and he couldn't. But in the second half, he really repaid what he had gone ahead to miss for Arsenal into a cutback that resulted into an own goal for Newcastle, and he made it 2-0 for Arsenal, and Fabian Schär gave away that ball inside. So Martinelli, 7 out of 10. Then I'm going to Gabriel Jesus. He really had a very busy day. He was not fed into a lot, and if at all you ask me how many balls were he created to really score, I don't even remember one. I think the only shots he really tried to direct on target were just his individual brilliancy and innovation. That's him. But he was very ambitious on the night, and he never found himself onto a score line in there for you. But in the last 7 games, he has scored 5. That's not a very bad tally for centre forward, and I'm giving him a 7 out of 10. That is Gabriel Jesus. Let's talk about players that came in through. Kieran Tierney, 7.5 out of 10. He really added a lot of stability and safety into that left back of Arsenal. Then Thomas Partey, 6.5 out of 10. Edin Ketia, 6.5 out of 10. Leandro Trossard, 7 out of 10. Rice Nelson, 7 out of 10. And those are the players that really Arteta brought on the field of play. And who is... Before we go to the man of the match, let's talk about Mikel Arteta on the night. I'm giving him an 8. I'm giving Arteta an 8 because he brought in a very good starting 11, Secondly, he made quick changes. After realizing danger that Zinchenko was bringing to the team defensively, he took him off and brought on Kientieni. A mistake that really took long to do in the game of Liverpool, the game of West Ham, the game of Southampton, and the game of Man City. So my man of the match is obviously Jorginho. He was tied on 9 out of 10 with Odegaard, but Jorginho is my man of the match. But if at all you can also give it to Martin Odegaard, he deserves it. But for me, I've gone in with Jorginho. So what are your thoughts about my player ratings of Arsenal 2, Newcastle 0 into the comment section below? Tell me who is your man of the match and how you are going to rate every player into this fixture. I sign out for now. See you later. First video of the day, I'm returning with the match preview of Man City versus Real Madrid down in Spain at Santiago Bernabeu, a fixture that is happening tomorrow, and we are all going to be all eyes here onto the Rokani Media Football to see whether Man City can break what we call the jinx of them not going past Real Madrid in all times. They found them in the semi-final. I'm out. See you later, and I cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. Bye-bye for now.